Page 290, page 290. Thank you, Hazimir. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. My name is Rabbi Meir Bargeron, and it is such an honor and a pleasure to be here with all of you, and especially with the family and friends of Ashlyn Sagan, who becomes a Bat Mitzvah this morning in this sanctuary. Now, I have something to tell you. I know that this is a huge, wonderful moment for the Sagan family and for all of Ashlyn's friends, but this is also a super huge moment for us at Congregation Akduth V'Shalom. So I'm so happy that we all get to share this simcha, this joyous day together. In a moment, we will begin our service in earnest, but I just have a couple of things that I want to share with you to kind of guide us along the way this morning. This is a celebration, and it is also Shabbat morning, and we're happy that it's Shabbat morning every time we get to come together and pray. But today is even more special. It is a celebration, and our prayers are communal. As we go through the prayer book, which, some of you know this like the back of your hand, and some of you possibly may be seeing this for the first time today. So you may notice that the prayer book, depending on your frame of reference, opens the other way, and the pages turn the other way. You'll find on each page, most of the time, the prayer you'll find in Hebrew, and then next to it in English letters, you will find the prayer, which is also Hebrew, but may help you pronounce it. And we also have English translations and interpretations for each prayer. So as we go, I trust you will be able to find something on each and every page of this prayer book that will be meaningful for you and support you in your prayer together. Some logistics. We appreciate everyone wearing masks today. And we all are really tired of masks. And I'm just so grateful that you're continuing to help us maintain a safe environment. So when those of us are speaking on the bima, masks are optional. And everyone who is on the bima today has been vaccinated. We are also asking that everyone is welcome in our sanctuary, and we've asked today, and I'm so grateful for people helping us with this. We have, if people who haven't been vaccinated can't be vaccinated yet, we have a space for you to sit that's a little more distant to keep you and everyone else just a little bit safer. We appreciate everyone going through the process of answering our question and signing our brief this morning. So thank you. I'm very grateful to each of you for doing that. Also, on some practical things, the restrooms are located right out that door under the exit sign. Keep going across the lobby. You'll find them on your left. Now would be a great moment to set your cell phone to stun mode or silent, so that if you were to get a call or a text or something during the service, you don't get embarrassed. Okay, so go ahead and if you think that applies to you, go ahead and check right now. Oh yes, the last thing I'm going to ask, it's going to be really, really, really hard on a joyous day, but we do ask that we refrain from taking photos during the service itself. You'll have plenty of opportunity to greet Ashlyn and her family after the service outside, and you can take all the photos you want at that time. Oh yes, Ashlyn's family has asked me to let you know that there is a guest book in the lobby outside the sanctuary, and they would love to have a memorial of your visit today. So please, if you haven't signed that, please do sign that before you leave today. And now it is our opportunity to continue our prayer together on page 185. Page 185 on the left-hand side of the page. And let us read responsively. I'll begin. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness, pride, envy, and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. All right, and now it is, I'm very excited to be able to invite Ashlyn Sagan to the lectern to join me in leading our service this morning. So we will continue in just a moment, but you know what? I told everybody, why don't you stand up here so we can see it? Yeah, all right. I have to stand on this too. Yep. Yeah. So I asked everybody to turn off their phones, but I didn't turn mine off yet. And I also said we were kind of done taking pictures, but actually we have one more picture to take. So Ashlyn, is it okay if we take a selfie?
Sure.
All right, let's do that. Okay, we want to remember this moment. So, all right, excuse us for a second. All right, turn around. All right, come on. Okay. Two. Let's get some people up there. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Let's do it one more time. Smile. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Ashlyn.
Yep.
All right. We have a one of our traditions, our customs, actually a commandment, is that we may choose to wear a garment called a talit, which is a Hebrew word and more or less means prayer shawl. And by tradition, one does not wear a talit until one has become a bat mitzvah or a bar mitzvah. And this is a special moment that Ashlyn will now qualify to be able to wear a talit, and to present Ashlyn with her very own talit. It is my honor to invite Ashlyn's grandmother, Dr. Susan Meschel, who will present Ashlyn with her talit. Let's talk to her.
Okay.
You can take your mask off.
I have to take this off.
It's okay.
Ashlyn, it's been not so very many years ago that I saw you for the first time in Fort Wayne when you were half an hour old. And now, after all these years, you became a wonderful wonderful young woman, growing in development and in knowledge. And I'm so very proud of you that now you are becoming a bat mitzvah. It means a lot to me. I could not do that in my childhood in Hungary. Girls did not have the opportunity. So I'm doubly proud that you are able to do this. And I wanted to present you with this talit, which is the talit inside comes from Haifa. Both come from Israel. The cover, the bag comes from Jerusalem. So I hope that you will use it more than once. And
Right. Okay, this up. Good. Take this.
did that help?
Yeah.
And you notice that the prayer is on the
Oh,
cup.
yeah. I have to. That. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kinshana b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chitatei b'tzitzit.
Amen.
And I'm so proud of you. Now that you are wearing it for the first time. And may you wear it many other times. Grow to be a knowledgeable person and have a lot of happiness in your family life.
Thank you. Let's take a look here. What's going on with this? Good job. Okay. The service will continue on page.
Turn to page 293 for the blessings of daily miracles.
Page 293.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sakvivina lahavhin beinu uven laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokei afivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sokei fifuvim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokach haaretz al chamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten layaev koach.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shena me'enai utnuma me'afapai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani bat horim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushan b'mitzvotav v'tivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen. We will continue on page 306 with the words of Psalm 150.
Hallelujah, take a shofar. Hallelujah, never Lord. Hallelujah, tofu makol. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, Hashanah, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, Hashanah, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, scintillation. Hallelujah, scintillation. Oh,
join me on page 312.
We will do Chatzi Kaddish. Please rise as you are able. Let us move forward to the ark. Okay. You ready?
Yikral v'yikra shemeraba.
Amen.
Vilma divrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei.
B'chayechon u'vyomechon u'vchayeda kol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, ubizman karib. Amen.
Yehi shmeraba mevorach. La'olam u'la'ol me'yomaya. Yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishabach v'yipar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudashah
B'richu.
leila min kol berachata v'shirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran behalma.
v'yimaru
Amen.
Baruch ed Adonai hamivorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vayem Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vayem.
You may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uborei choshech. Oseh shalom uborei et hakol hame'eretz la'aretz v'ladarim alecha brachamim uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit ma'rabu ma'asecha Adonai kulam b'chokma asita. Malach ha'aretz kinyanecha titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha v'al ma'ori or she'asita yifaruch hasela. Or charash al Zion ta'ir, v'nizkeh kulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hamarot.
Amen.
We now turn to page 316 for the Ahava Rabbah. Ahava Rabbah ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chemla gedola v'teira, Chamalta aleinu. Please join us on page 317 as we read the English responsibly. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear, in every land and every age. Your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one unifier of humanity.
We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us to understanding of your will. Gratefully, we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel, and joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose.
May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, habacher b'amo Yisrael ba'achava.
Amen.
Turn to page 318 and stand for the reciting of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malkuto, Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Okay, you can rest for a second. You take a step back. I'll call your cousins up. We will continue our service on page 243. And Ashlyn, actually, as I understand it, Ashlyn, for nearly every person, maybe every person who you'll be hearing speaking today, decided who she wanted to ask. And you asked, did you ask many of them personally? Did you?
By text.
By text. Well, that's personally, I get it. That's how it goes these days. So anyway, so for this next reading, Ashlyn has invited her cousins Maddie and Annabelle and Alexandra and Michaela, and we will continue on page 243. And y'all can come up to the beam and to read the blessing. So you're going to all read together, right? Okay, why don't you come on up here? And somebody's going to let 1, 2, 3 start, and then read loud.
Oh God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Oh, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. As the fish gives himself to the sea,
as the bird gives herself to the air, so may we give ourselves to you.
Yasha Koa, that's Hebrew for great job. Thank you very much. You can have a seat. Our service will continue on page 322. You're doing Michamocha, right? Okay, great. Go.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh, Norah tehilo dosek beleh, Norah tehilo dosek beleh. Who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders?
To Israel, to Ezra Israel, to faith in Mecca, Yudah Israel. Oh, Aleinu, Adonai Yoshua, Kadosh Yisrael.
Baruch Hu Hashem. Amen. We will now begin the Amidah, which you will find on page 323. This is the central prayer of our service, and this is the moment when we offer God abundant gratitude for the blessings we have in our life. Ashlyn is going to lead us through each of these prayers. And as you hear Ashlyn read the prayer in Hebrew, I invite you to take that sound, those words, Ashlyn's prayers, into your heart and add them to your own and offer them to the eternal. Please rise as you are able. We'll continue on page 323.
Adonai, sirvatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zacher Chasei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Mel Choser U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol atah Rav Lahoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umkayem Emunato Lishenei Yafar, Michamocha Ba'al Givurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit, Umachaye, Umatmiyak Yeshua, V'ne'amanata l'chachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Nikadesh Shimcha ba'olam, Kishim shemakdishim oto b'shmei kakatuv al yad neviyecha, v'kara zel ze ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivaot, Melo ha'aretz, Kivodo. Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir, Shimcha b'chol ha'aretz, Baruch Kivod Adonai, Mimkomo. Echadu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, V'hu Yashmienu, Brachamav le'enei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Sion, L'dor v'dor. Hallelujah. L'dor v'dor nagid god lecha, ol netach netachim kedusha hanakdish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush, l'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You may be seated. Vishamru b'nei Israel et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat ledor tamborit olam.
B'nei Israel et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam.
V'nu vein b'nei Israel, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Israel et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat ledor tamborit olam. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Our service continues on page 330.
On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call, grant us enough health to fulfill our duties, and the compassion we need to attend to others.
We'll read responsively. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us.
Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. Baruch atah Adonai she'otcha levarcha b'yara
na'avod. Amen.
Please stand for the Modim and Nachnulach. Modim and Nachnulach sha'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu le'olam va'ed. Tzur hayenu magen yishenu ata hu lador vador. You may be seated after silent prayer.
Why don't you go have a seat for a minute? Take a drink of water. I would now like to invite Allison Mortland and Judith Meschel to the Bima. Our service will continue on page 376. Page 376. Leading us in the prayer for our country will be Ashlyn's aunt Allison.
Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, so that the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And leading us in the prayer for the state of Israel is Ashlyn's aunt, Judith Meschel.
Sha'alu Shalom Yerushalayim, Yishlayu Ohavayich. That was the short version. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo. Barech, Barech, et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Mimchat Geulatenu, Hagen Alea, Bevchat Chastecha, Ufros Alea, Sukat Shlomecha, Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo. Ushla zorcha, V'mitecha, l'raosheha, sareha, yotzeha, v'yotzecha, v'natata shalom ba'aretz, v'simchat, Leolam liyoshveha, Leolam liyoshvecha, V'nomar, V'nomar, Amen.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
And thank you, Allison. Our service continues on page 337, with a prayer for peace. Thank you, Hazimir. Now we've come to the time in our service when we hear Torah, the story of the Jewish people. And last night I shared some words from Rabbi Shira Milgram, who described the words of Torah, the story of Torah, as a description of why the world needs the Jews. To tell you a little more about it, it's because of the things that God commands us to do are not only for our benefit, but for the benefit of the entire world. Suffice it to say that this is an important story. And the parashah, the Torah portion that Ashlyn will be reading this morning is Netzavim from the book of Deuteronomy. So in a moment, we will begin the Torah service. But let me orient you a little bit to what you'll find in your service booklet. You will find the Torah reading and also a reading called the Haftorah reading, which will come later. So if you wish to follow along, you'll be able to do that there. And there will be some times when we will rise and we will stand, and we might stand for a little while. Whenever I ask or invite you to stand, it's traditional that we stand, particularly when the ark is open. However, that should only be if that's something that is physically appropriate and okay and comfortable for you to do. Please feel okay to remain seating or to sit down at any time. So we will now begin the Torah service, and I am going to invite our Bat Mitzvah, Ashlyn, to come on up here. And also, we are going to, Ashlyn is going to receive Torah. In the way that our tradition works, we describe that Torah is passed down lador vador through the generations. And this morning, Ashlyn will have an opportunity to experience literally that. So now I would like to invite Ashlyn's mom, Ava, Ashlyn's dad, Jason, and her brother, Jared, to the bima. Come with me. So you guys gonna line up? I think Jared's last. Okay. Okay, and we're gonna go to the bima. Hold this for me. Okay, you're gonna stand next to your brother. We will now pass the Torah through the generations of Ashlyn's family. Got it, Jared. Thank you. For this last chain in the link, Jared is going to be holding the scroll for a moment, and then he will hand it to Ashlyn a little closer to when we're ready to read. You will notice, I want to tell you two things about this Torah. First off, you will notice that it is enormous, and that's because, well, it's enormous. It's also a very, very important Torah. This is a Torah scroll that was rescued from Czechoslovakia following the Shoah. There are many Torah scrolls like this one being cared for by congregations all over the world. And when it was time for Ashlyn to begin planning her bat mitzvah, it was very important to Ashlyn and her family that she have the opportunity to read her Torah portion from this scroll. It is a very important scroll for our community. It is our honor to care for this Torah scroll on behalf of the community, that God willing, someday we may be able to return it to a community in Czechoslovakia. But until then, we will care for it, and we will have the honor of hearing words of Torah from this Torah scroll. We will continue our service on, on page 362. Ein kamocha.
Adonai, Malachut teka, malachut kol olamim, umeshach teka v'dor, dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai melech,
At the top of the page. Kimitzion setze Torah udevar Adonai Yerushalayim. From out of Zion will come the Torah and the word of Adonai from Jerusalem. We will continue our service on page 366.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Let's turn around. Gadol Adonai iti, let's bow in a Shemo Yachzav. We will now bring the Torah to the reading table. I'm going to ask Jared to close the curtain on the ark, and you may be seated when the curtain's closed. I got it. You did great. You go, yep. And I am now very proud to invite Ashlyn's teacher, Mr. Bruce Colgrove, to the bima, he will be Ashlyn's gabbai. That is the person who is there with her as she reads her Torah portion. He's also going to help me get the Torah scroll ready for us to read from. So we're going to call the First Aliyah. So we have a tradition that we say a blessing before each time that we read the Torah. And on special days like this, we the opportunity to get that blessing is an honor. And it's an honor that Ashlyn has very carefully considered and offered to members of her family. And so for the First Aliyah, the first Torah blessing, I would like to invite Dr. Susan and George Meschel, Ashlyn's grandparents. Na la'amod Aryeh Lev ben Yitzchak v'Malta, v'Shoshana bat Akiba Shlomo v'Belachaya le'aliyah. you will find the blessing for before reading Torah on page 368. Yes, we're going to find it for you. Yes. Ashlyn, you show your grandmother where you're going to start. The yad. There we go. Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Vaed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim ונתת לנו את תורתו. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem, Rashachem, Shiftechem, Ziknechem, V'shotrechem, Kol Ish Yisrael. Tapechem, Neshechem, V'gercha, Asher Bekerv, Machanecha, Mechotev, Eitzecha, Ad Shoev Meimecha. Le'avrahabi Rit Adonai Elohecha, Uvalato Asher Adonai Elohecha, Kore Imcha Hayom.
Baruch Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayu olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach and Mazel Tov. But you can go back and have a seat. Awesome. And for the second Aliyah, it is our honor to hear from for the Torah blessing, Mrs. Karen Sagan, Ashlyn's grandmother, and Jared Sagan, Ashlyn's brother. Na la'amod Chaya bat Mordechai v'Shana Yitzchak ben Gershon v'Chava le'aliyah. Baruch Adonai and Barak Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Lama'an Hakim Otcha Hayom Lo La'am V'hu Yihyeh L'cha L'Elohim Ka'asher Deber Lach V'Ka'asher Nishba La'avotecha La'Avraham L'Yitzchak L'Yaakov V'lo Itchem Levadechem Anochi Koret Et Habrit Hazot Ve'et Ha'alah Hazot Ki Et Asher Yeshno Po Imanu Omed Hayom Lifnei Adonai Eloheinu Ve'et Asher Inenu Po Imanu Hayom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach. And for the third Aliyah, we come to a very special moment, as if each moment, as if these moments could get any more special than they already have been. I would like to invite Ashlyn's parents to the bima for the third Aliyah. Na la'amod Gershon ben Yitzchak Yehoshua v'Chaya V'chava bat Aryeh leVeshoshana leAliyah. Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Ki atem yada'atem et asher yeshavnu be'eretz Mitzrayim ve'et asher avarnu be'kerev hagoyim asher avartem. Vatiru et shikutzehem ve'et gilulehem et va'even kesef v'zahav asher imahem. Pen yesh bahem shoresh o ish o isha o mishpacha o shevet asher Lavavo fona hayom meim Adonai Eloheinu lalechet laavod et Elohe hagoyim hachem. Pen yesh bahem shoresh porer rosh v'la'ana. V'haya b'shamo et divrei ha'Allah hazot v'hit barech bilvavo lemor shalom yichye li ki b'shrirut libi elech lama'an sefot harava et hatzma'ah. Lo yoveh Adonai saloach lo ki az yashan. Af Adonai vitinato vaish hahu v'ravtsa bo kol ha'Allah haktuva b'sefer hazeh. Umacha Adonai et shemo mitachat hashamayim v'hivdu lo Adonai l'ra'a mikol shivtei Yisrael kohol alot habrit haktuva b'sefer haTorah hazeh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam natan v'tofenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach. No, you're going to stay up here. So now I'm going to invite you to stand over here right next to Ashlyn. We're going to kind of get in here a little cozy, right? Between me and, yeah, you should be close to her. All right. Yeah. Good. So for the final Aliyah, so there's a question. What is a Bat Mitzvah? Okay, it is a special service. Check. Yes, it is. It is a period of study. Yes, it is. It is time for family and friends to get together to mark the growing adulthood, the emerging adulthood of a young person in our community. Check. Yes, it is. Guess what? This moment right now, this is really what the Bat Mitzvah is. This is the moment when Ashlyn has the beautiful opportunity, as if reading the Torah wasn't good enough, right? Wasn't enough. Dayenu. The real mitzvah is in being able to read the blessing for reading of Torah. And so this is the moment. You've done this already, Ashlyn. You're gonna do this beautifully. I am now so pleased to call Ashlyn to the Torah. Nala amod, nala amod, nala amod. Shlomit Aharona bat Gershon v'chava le'aliyah.
Baruch et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
V'haya hi yavo'u alecha kol hadvarim ha'ele habracha v'chaklala asher natati lefanecha v'hashavota el levavecha v'chol hagoyim asher hidichacha Adonai Elohecha Shema v'shavta ad Adonai Elohecha v'shamata v'kolo kachol asher anochi mitzavacha hayom ata uvanecha b'chol levavcha u'chol nafshecha v'shav Adonai Elohecha et shavutacha v'richamecha v'shav v'kibetcha mikol ha'amim asher hafitzacha Adonai Elohecha shama im yichye nidichacha b'iktzei hashamayim misham yikabetcha Adonai Elohecha Umisham yikahecha, v'haviecha Adonai Elohecha el haaretz asher yarshu avotecha v'rishta v'hetivcha v'hirbacha me'avotecha.
Yasher koach. Mazel tov. Mazel tov, Simen tov, Mazel tov, Mazel tov, Simen tov, Simen tov, Mazel tov, Mazel tov, Simen tov, Simen tov, Mazel tov, Mazel tov, Simen tov. Elanu, 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 oh, lechol Israel. Mom and Dad, Elanu, Elanu, brother, oh, lechol Israel. Elanu, Elanu, oh, lechol Israel. Elanu, Elanu, oh, lechol Israel. Mazel tov, Ashlyn. We're not done yet.
I know.
But what a moment anyway, huh? This is fantastic. All right, you all can have a seat. No, you stay here and you stay here. Dad, you guys stay here. Mom, you can have a seat. All right. Right, and now for us to be able to hold the Torah for all of us to see, I am so excited and grateful to call to the Torah at Ashlyn's brother Jared, who will hold the Torah for us to see, and her father Jason, who will dress the Torah. Na la'amod lehagba v'gelila le'aliyah. Okay. All right. Zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe litnei bnei Israel al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. All right, we got it. Yeah. You go have a seat. Have a seat. Yai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai. Whoops, yai, lai. This first, yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, lai, lai. We're gonna put the other way around. Yai, lai, lai. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna buckle in front. Yai, lai. Yeah. Yai, lai, yai, lai. Yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, lai, lai. Good, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai. Yeah, let's see. Here we go. There we go. One. There we go. Lai, lai, lai. Okay, and then. You may be seated. And there was a hush of amazement as we saw that Torah get lifted. Mazel tov and Yasher Koach Jared. Okay. Sit back a little. Get comfortable. Yeah. All right. Good. We gotta take care of Jared right now. All right. We will now continue our service with the reading of Haftorah. Just a moment. No, we won't. Hold on. Yes, we will. The service will continue on page 372. Ashlyn will be reading the Haftorah this morning, and we'll begin with the blessing, page 372.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nbiim tovim v'ratzav v'divrei hanimrim bemet. Baruch atah Adonai Habacher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'b'nvei hamevat tzedek. Al chomotai Yerushalayim hifkadti shomrim kol hayom v'chol chalayla tamid lo yecheshu hamazkirim et Adonai al dami lachem v'al titenu dami lo ad yichonein v'ad yasim et Yerushalayim tehila ba'aretz. Nishba Adonai bimino uvizroa uzo im eten et diganech Od ma'achol lo'oivayik v'im yishtu v'nei nechar tiroshech asher yagaat bo ki me'asfav yochluhu v'hilalu et Adonai kabetzav yishtuhu v'chatzrot kodshi ivru basharim panu derech ha'am solu chamsila saklu me'even harimu nes al ha'amim. Hine Adonai Hishmiya El Katsei Haaretz Imru Lavat Zion Hine Yishech Ba Hine Secharo Ito Ufulato Lefanav V'Karu Lachem Am HaKodesh Geulei Adonai V'Lach Yikare Derusha Ir Lo Ne'ezava. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sur kol haolamim tzadik b'chol hadarot hayel haneman haomer v'oseh hamdaber umkayem shekol devrav emet tzedek al hatorah ve'al havodah ve'al hanviim ve'al yom hashabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarchim otach yitbarach shimcha b'fi chol chai tamid le'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai mikadesh hashabbat.
Amen. Yasher koach. So now that Ashlyn has read Torah and Haftarah is read from the texts of our tradition, we are now going to have the opportunity to learn from. Just a moment. Are you telling me we're in the wrong place?
No.
Okay, we're good. Ashlyn was pointing to something. I want to make sure we're in the right place. She's keeping me honest. All right. We are now going to hear Ashlyn teach us. Now, I've had the opportunity to hear this, and I can tell you that Ashlyn is a dynamite teacher, and you are in for a treat. So, Ashlyn, when you're ready, we can begin.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm so glad you all could join me today. The Torah portion I read for you is called Nitzavim from the book of Deuteronomy, and the Jews are about to step foot in the land of Israel. But before the Jews enter the promised land, Moses presents to the Jews a covenant that says, Adonai is your God, and God will protect you. Those who choose not to follow through this covenant, or those who turn their backs on Adonai, will have curses inflicted upon them. A covenant is defined as a solemn agreement. This specific covenant is made with not only the Jews that were present that day, but with all the future generations of Jews, including all the Jews that are here today. What I found interesting about my portion is how the Torah talks about how God protected the Jews after their wandering in the desert, and yet people still decided to worship other gods. But what I found most important about my Torah portion is the choice the Jewish people had to make between life and death. Moses stated, "This day I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life so that you and your children may live and that you may love Adonai your God. Listen to his voice and hold fast to him. For Adonai is your life, and he will give you many years in the land he swore to give your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." I thought this was the most important part of my parsha because making the right choice could turn out to be wrong. Choosing life means living the best life that you are given. For example, I choose to get an education and learn something new every day. So in the future, I could be anything I want to be. Not choosing to get an education might not give you what you want in life. I only have one life to live, so I choose to live it out. It is important for us to know how to make choices because whatever choice you choose sets you on some path that could determine how your life ends out to be. But like the Torah, the covenant still stands in you, whether you turn away from God or not. This means you still have a chance to return to God and a chance to right a wrong. Some ways to keep covenant include keeping the 10 commandments, like keeping Shabbat holy and honoring your parents. Saying prayers like the Shema and the Vahavta is a way to keep covenant because the prayers are basically saying to listen and love Adonai. My Bat Mitzvah project was about setting up a page online to fundraise money for the Turnstone Flyers, a wheelchair soccer organization. During that process, I experienced one way of keeping covenant, giving tzedakah. By setting up a fundraising page for Turnstone, I'm giving tzedakah to a cause I am intrigued by. We can try to keep covenant by participating in activities, giving to charities, even cleaning around the house. This way we can help out our community, making it a safer and cleaner place. I would like to thank my parents for supporting me, and not only for my preparation for my Bat Mitzvah, but for supporting me in other activities such as soccer and piano. I would also like to thank Grandma Susan and Papa George for presenting me my talit made in Haifa in Israel. I want to thank my brother Jared, who has encouraged me and helped me do my best in almost everything I've done over the years. Thank you, John Planer and the choir for providing beautiful music for the service. I want to thank Rabbi Meir for helping me with my davar and doing some touch-ups with some of my prayers. Last but not least, I especially want to thank my tutor, Mr. Colgrove, for helping me with the Hebrew I presented you today. He has helped me with learning the Hebrew letters and vowels, to learning prayers, then to learning Torah. I couldn't have done it without all his help. Thank you for all my family and friends who could attend. Shabbat Shalom.
Yasha Koach. Ooh. That was beautiful, Ashlyn. Mazel tov on a wonderful, beautiful Devar Torah. And now that you've had a chance to speak and to teach us, your parents will be here, and there are some words that they would like to offer you. So I'd like to invite your mom and dad up to the bima, and you just get to stay here and take it all in. Probably step this way so your mom can have the mic.
Jason has no idea what I'm about to say. Welcome, everyone. A few years ago, I was taking Ashlyn to our local YMCA, and she made it abundantly clear to me that there were certain things that she did not want me to do in public because they would embarrass her. To make it clear how serious she was about this, she made me a list of these potential offenses. They included, but were not limited to, no singing, no humming, no bouncing, no dancing, no skipping, no walking like an Egyptian, no Monty Python funny walking, you get the idea. And if I promise not to breathe funny, then converting oxygen into carbon dioxide, that was okay. When Rabbi Meir told us that we would need to give a short speech to Ashlyn at her bat mitzvah, we knew it was important not to do or say anything that would make her feel awkward or uncomfortable. So I made a list of things not to say to Ashlyn today. We are not going to tell you how proud we are of you on this momentous occasion for which people came from near and far during this challenging time to celebrate with us today. We won't even hint at all the hard work and determination you put into for over a year preparing for this day while continuing to go to school, play soccer and piano, be with friends, join clubs, and attend Hebrew classes twice a week. We promise to keep it a closely guarded secret that we admire your strength and determination to excel at everything you want to do, and that you do so with integrity, class, and a great deal of self-respect. And we won't even breathe a word about what an amazing and inspirational person you've always been and how much we're looking forward to continuing to watch you develop and grow. We certainly won't allude to how you're one of the most caring, loving, funny, feisty, and loyal people we've ever met. And we won't mention how we admire that you stand tall and take pride in your sense of worthiness and self. We won't let anyone know how we burst with pride watching you both on and off a soccer field, in and out of the classroom, at or away from the piano, or with your incredible circle of amazing friends. And finally, we are not going to state the obvious, which is that you really and truly are our favorite daughter.
Your only
daughter. And that you just make life better in general. So Ashlyn, I promise to keep my mouth shut and not say anything at all.
Thanks, Mom.
Mazel tov. So we're going to add something to Ashlyn's list of amazing talents that may embarrass her. You know that minute ago when Ashlyn was like, pointing, and then that's okay. Well, actually, what she was trying to tell me was, and then John Planer's readiness to go was telling me something else. We've left the Torah out in our midst even longer than we might ordinarily do. And that means Jared's been holding it for all that time. Good job, Jared. Thank you. And so now we will return the Torah to the ark. We will continue with the prayer Hodu al Eretz, which Hazimir will offer us, and continue with Etz Chaim. You may be seated. So Ashlyn, now that, oops, I gotta get something. Here we go. Now that you've had a chance to teach us, and your mom and dad have had a chance of not embarrassing you, I'm going to take a moment and share a few words with you as well. Words that have been inspired by my opportunity to work with you over these past months. Ashlyn, one of the very best parts of being a rabbi is being able to stand with young people just like you as they become a bat mitzvah. You have studied and worked hard, and this is the moment for you to just breathe and take it all in. You know what? Let's take a minute, take a breath. Okay, and look at all of these people who are so happy for you today. It's amazing. This is such a beautiful, beautiful moment. And Ashlyn, you taught your Torah to us so beautifully. As I was listening to you practice your Devar Torah this week, I was so impressed with what you had to teach us about life, and especially about choosing life. On this day of your bat mitzvah, you take on new responsibility for your Jewish life. You take on new responsibility for your choices. May you choose a life that embraces creation. May you care for yourself as one of the beautiful aspects of creation. And may you, in this life, your generation, as a member of this generation that you are a part, you will have a unique responsibility for caring for our world in the years ahead. May you choose to embrace that with an understanding that all creation comes from God, and that our job is to tend to that. May you choose a life that embraces creation. May you choose a life that is filled with learning. Discover your passions, Ashlyn, and pursue them. I know there are things you already love and are interested in. And what's beautiful about this moment in your life is I'm pretty sure that you are just beginning to scratch the surface of the passions and interests that you will find in your life. Embrace them, pursue them. And discover Torah like you started to do. Continue your study of Torah that you may learn its messages that are both timeless and universal, and those messages that are just for you. May you choose a life that is filled with learning. May you, Ashlyn, choose a life that is filled with love. Cherish those who are close to you. What a loving family you have. Seeing you all together has just been beautiful. And I know that you recognize how special that is, but may you continue to cherish that with the love that you have lavished upon you and that you can lavish upon others. May you recognize that each person you meet now and from this day forward is created in the image of God. And may you love yourself, because that is the source of all the love you have to give others. May you choose a life that is filled with love. And Ashlyn, may you choose a life that is filled with blessing. Find something each day for which you are grateful. Express lavish appreciation unto others. Tell them that you are grateful when you are. And include God in your expressions of gratitude. These will be your prayers. May you choose a life that is filled with blessing. Ashlyn, we are so blessed to have you be a member of our community here. And we are so lucky to have you and we will always be a community that is here for you. You are our blessing, and we will endeavor to be yours. Mazel tov on this amazing, amazing achievement, Ashlyn. You are a blessing. All right. You can have a seat. We have come to the time in our service when we will pray for healing for those who are in need of healing of body or of mind or of spirit. I invite you to turn to page 371, page 371 for the Misha Barak, the prayers of healing. What I will do is I will offer the names of those for whom we are praying as a community this Shabbat, and then I will offer the opportunity for you to add the names of those for whom you are praying, and then we will pray the Misha Barak blessing for healing. This Shabbat, we pray for healing for Louis Bloom, Ruth Bloom, Andrew Bosell, Pircha Bat Bracha, Adolf Breitman, Adrienne Breitman, Roberta Butts, Debbie Cohn, Todd Craigo, Jeremy Elder, Tobias Enright, Michael Linderman, Renee Marver, Kaylin Nagel, Tom O'Neill, Janet Rosenberg, Debbie Charay, Gary Smythe, and Bobby Williams. And to these names we add we pray with you. Amen. Thank you, Hazimir. And now I would like to invite Ashlyn's parents back to the bima one more time. And Ashlyn, and we will meet at the Ark, and we'll have an opportunity for Ashlyn to receive a blessing. Okay, Ashlyn, you go right here. Mom and Dad either side. Going to ask you please to rise once again as you are able. This is a moment. Standing here with your lap there. With your hands. Hold an enormous Torah. The reason I think is that is because this is also is your story, just like it is the story of people, the children. something. We are so we're smoking. Now I would like to offer the priestly benediction to Ashlyn, and I'll invite you to if you know the prayer, you may say it along with me. Yivarechacha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav alecha v'chunecha. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav alecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God turn toward you and grant you peace. And together, let us all say, Amen. Turn around. We have one more blessing to say, and it goes like this. It is a Shehekianu, a moment that has never quite been like this one and will never quite happen like this again. We recognize this as Ashlyn has become a Bat Mitzvah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehekianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Mazel tov. You may all be seated. Mom and Dad, you can go have a seat. And Ashlyn, you can have a seat too. Just kidding. It's time for the Elenu. Our service will continue on page 586. Page 586. Ashlyn will lead us in Elenu. You're ready.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, la'tet gedula liotzer breishit, shelo asanu kiguyei haratzot,
Velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam.
chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kochol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may be seated. What's next? Yeah. Okay. Our service will continue on page 598. We've come to the time when we remember those who are no longer with us, those who have died recently or in this season, in years past, or those who we are especially thinking of on this special day of simcha, of joy for Ashlyn and her family. In a moment, I'm going to read the list of those for whom we are remembering as a community, and then I'll pause and invite you to add the names of anyone who you are remembering this Shabbat. On this Shabbat and this morning of Ashlyn's Bat Mitzvah, we remember these members of Ashlyn Sagan's family: Max and Charlotte Gilbert, Harold and Libby Sagan, Erwin Sagan, Jenno Kallman, Isidore Meschel, Bernat and Marta Dreilinger, Miklos and Magda Patai. This Shabbat continues the period of the period of Shema, the death within the past year of Ruby Jackson, Ron Subik, Harold Prigozhin, Sarah Lee Levin, Marilyn Salin, Marvin Krell, Jack Rosenberg, Leah Batmanasha Vabaila, Kathy Jarvis, James Lieb, Norman Snow, Paul Schwartz Jr., Joan Kramer, and Carol Friedman. This Shabbat marks the yahrzeit, the anniversary of death of Abe Beck, Herbert Berger, Blanche Leiter Block, Anna Bluestein, Clara Brossler, Gitta Bruckman, Dora Buxbaum, Joe Congress, Hyman Doppelt, Betty Dubinsky, Max Dubrowen, Alex Feldman, Dr. William A. Gitlin, Dorothy B. Gold, Robert Johnson, Rose J. Kaplan, Rex P. Mercer, Hammond Ochstein, Dr. Abraham J. Ochstein, Betty Lehman Pollack, Lloyd Ray, Lawrence Ress, Marion Rodman, Abner Rosenberg, Eugenia Russ, Dr. Moses Saperstein, Dorothy R. Salin, Seymour Samet, Marilyn Sachs, Morris Schuster, Fanny Spanger, Nelson W. Williams, Goldie Yaffe. And to those names we add. For these names and the names we carry in our heart, the names of those who perished in the Shoah, and the names of those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, I invite you to rise as you are able in solidarity to recite Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra cherote ve'amlik malchute, v'chayachon u'vyamachon u'chaye dekol beit Israel, bagala u'vizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mavarach le'olam ulmei almaya, Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitnoram v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shmei dekudisha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'irshirata, Tush bechata v'nechamata damiran be'elma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'akol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'akol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Zichronom livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. You may be seated. And now it is my pleasure to invite Beth Zweig, a representative of our board of directors, who will have some announcements and some other things that she will be doing in honor of Ashlyn's Bat Mitzvah. Beth, it is so great to have you here.
It is my pleasure to be here representing the board. And thank you to Ronnie Greenberg, who's our president, singing with the choir. She wanted to focus on singing, so I get to do something fun being up here. And it's always been one of my favorite things over the years to take that off, represent the congregation in presenting awards and gifts to our bar and bat mitzvah. And I was especially pleased because yesterday I was watching the video of you that Parkview did, and I was so impressed with your passion for the cause of the Turnstone Flyers and all you did. And clearly what a wonderful job you did today. You've worked hard and have a wonderful gift for reading Torah today and sharing your remarks and teaching. And I hope on behalf of the congregation that we'll see lots of you in the years to come now that you're a Bat Mitzvah. The other part that's so special about this is we're the oldest Jewish congregation in Indiana. And so you represent another generation who's here learning. And at one point, I think I counted up how many generations it had been. And I want to say 6 or 7 or more since we started. And so you join a special group of people who continue our Jewish community here in Fort Wayne. And we're really proud of you and glad that you're a Bat Mitzvah now. I have a few things for you. On behalf of the temple, we have a certificate that is signed by Rabbi Meir and your tutor and other people. The president, excuse me, Ronnie, okay, that marks this day, so you'll have that always. And we also have a special gift for you, which is a Kiddush cup through the generosity of the Ryan Goldstrom Memorial Gift Fund. And we hope that you will use this throughout your life for Shabbat and holidays and think fondly of this day, but remember the congregation that loves you and is proud of you. And this hopefully will have a special place for you always. We also have a certificate for you because we hope someday you'll make a trip to Israel on a study trip. And we have a gift certificate from NIFTY for the North American Federation of Temple Youth to take a trip to Israel. I am also honored today to present some gifts on behalf of the Jewish Federation of Fort Wayne. And we have a book for you about Israel, continuing the theme of we hope going to Israel. In honor of your Bat Mitzvah, the Federation also has planted a tree in Israel through the Jewish National Fund and in honor of the Simcha. And we hope you'll visit your tree. You can pick whichever city you want the tree in because there's one there with your name on it, I'm sure. And there's also a certificate from the Federation to let you know they have funds available should you take an organized trip to Israel after your confirmation. And those funds are made possible through the Goldenberg Fund and the Meyer and Manette Ruchman Fund as well. So there's a theme here, and we hope not only will you get to Israel, but also that you'll continue to be an important part of our congregation and community. So mazel tov on behalf of everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I have a few announcements too. Okay. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. And an early Shana Tova. I have a few announcements for you. Thank you to everyone who's here with us in person and those on Zoom. We're glad to have you whichever way you're joining us. Masks are still required, as you know, inside the temple, regardless of your vaccination status. So thank you very much for following those rules. And if you have not yet signed a brief, there are sheets in the foyer that you can sign regarding that. Please see the many temple emails and recent bulletin for the High Holy Day schedule. We will be here Monday night as Erev Rosh Hashanah and both our Reform and Traditional services, and we hope to see you throughout the holidays. If you would like to have a loved one's name read during the memorial service on Yom Kippur, please submit the names to the office no later than this coming Thursday. On Monday night, we will also have our Rosh Hashanah reception, so please join us in the social hall after services. And let's see, we want to thank our ushers, the Clappin family, the temple staff, Samara on the Zoom, our security team. Thank you to Rabbi Meir for everything, and also to Ashlyn for a wonderful job, and to the Hazimir Choir, John Planer, the director. And it's a pleasure to listen to all of you today, and a special welcome to Linda Kaplan, who's here from out of town singing, and she's a past president of the temple 2 times over. So we're glad to have her here today as well. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It has been just such a beautiful morning here, joining together in prayer for Shabbat, and to have Ashlyn teach us and pray and lead our prayers so beautifully. I wish this could go on and on, but actually we've come to the time where our service will end. So thanks to each of you for being here, for being a part of our community this morning. I'd like to add my thanks to Beth's for Hazimir. Thank you for offering your gifts to our community each and every time, and especially this morning. And we will conclude our service with Adon Olam, which you will find on page 625. Adon Olam.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Ve'ein Nasa V'chepsa Kol Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Niklot Hakol Levado Yimlot Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Omer Ve'hu Yeh V'tikvara Ve'hu Etan V'yeh Sheni L'cham Shilo L'cham Tira Ve'lireishi Ve'likami Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'hamizah
To greet Ashlyn and her family. So proceed out the doors and on outside, and we'll see you out there. Shabbat Shalom.